listener. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Good. So I'm going to tell a little story here. This is February 14th, 2007. It's Valentine's Day, and it is really hot. And not just hot, it's Ghana hot. And if you've ever experienced Ghana hot, or any equator hot, it's pretty hot. Anyways, Valentine's Day, I'm teaching at a high school in Asindarman, Ghana, and we have this basically a friendly soccer match against the junior high teachers. All fun and games. The year before, we basically did it. It's like little kids running around. We got our little dumpy headmaster was the goalie. Like a 75-year-old secretary scored the winning goal. It was all good times. Next year rolls around, and why not jump in there again? It didn't matter that I should mention I'm horrible at soccer, but it doesn't matter, right? This time I got I brought some cleats from my neighbor. It's gonna be serious this time. And so I head up to the school, and I start to realize that the headmaster and the secretary aren't really suiting up for this game. And only the 22-year-old national service teachers who are amazing soccer players are putting their jerseys on. And I also see our high school soccer players are also putting their jerseys on. And we get down to the park, and the other team is good. And the game starts, and I start to realize quickly that I am way over my head. And again, I have to really stress how actually horrible I am at soccer. This is not, I can't overstress this. Anyways, the basic strategies, they put me into this forward position, and essentially they're gonna I go run into the corner, they kick the ball over to me, and then I stop it, then I kick it across, and then somebody scores the goal. That's the basic strategy. However, this is what the park looks like. So actually, my counterpart, Isaac, just sent this. This is actually a couple days ago. And as you can see in the far corner over there, the edges of this park kind of slope down. And as you can see in the front, this is not AstroTurf. So there's a reason why these Ghanaian players are amazing ball handlers, because they play on this gravel all day long. For me, it's they're kicking the ball to me, and the ball is just going past me and going out of bounds. Which would all be great, except for the fact that every single one of our students in both the middle school and the high school, since there's no teachers, they're all just surrounding this whole park. And these are the kids that I've tried to basically impress and be cool in front of for the last 2 years. And I am completely embarrassing myself. Especially, there's this one kid, his name is Seth. Seth was, I don't know if anybody's been a teacher, but the kid that is just a little bit of a pest in your class is funny enough to make fun of you and have everybody else laugh. He seems to be he positions himself directly by me so that he can lead all these cheers against, or basically make fun of me the whole time. So the game goes on. The balls are coming my way, and I am honestly just I cannot stop. Literally, I'm not saying I didn't do anything cool. I couldn't stop the ball. It would just keep rolling past me, and people would laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And I'm already a butt of all the jokes because I'm kind of this tall, not white, I was red at that point, guy running around there. And so anyways, it's at some point I'm just oh my God, this is completely embarrassing. And there's even one point where the ball's coming my way, and I'm all right, okay, I'm gonna get out in front of it and totally I'm gonna block this ball, and I'm not just gonna let it go past me. So of course you could probably guess, I turn around, I look up, and I don't see the ball anymore. And I'm still looking like an idiot, and then sure enough, swear to God, off the back of my head, out of bounds. The crowd is just going crazy. And also, not lying, I look up, Seth, not kidding, has a megaphone. I've been in Ghana for 2 years. I haven't seen a megaphone a working electronic megaphone. I haven't seen a battery in 2.5 years, but Seth has a electronic functional megaphone, and he is leading cheers that are basically talking about, I mean, this cheer is, I can honestly close my ears and still hear it right now. It's basically like, Mr. Choquette on baba kara, which translated, not literally means, Mr. Choquette can't play soccer at all. And so this is the whole thing. So anyways, halftime rolls around, and this is like a serious game. There's like people are like fighting. I mean, like it's like legit. People are really, really excited about this. And I'm like kind of like beside myself. I'm like hot, I'm tired, I'm like so embarrassed. And so I walk up to like our teammates, and we're like the other teacher, and one teacher's like, yeah, Patrick, you're doing a great job, keep it up, whatever. And then he turns to his friend and says in Tree, is like, we got to get Patrick out of there. Like he's absolutely killing us. And at this point, I could understand enough to know. And so anyways, I was just like, maybe I should just sort of quit, obviously, because this is like super, super embarrassing. And then part of me was just like, I cannot go out like this. I absolutely cannot go out like this. So they're like working out how they're going to sub me out. And instead, while they're doing that, I just run out onto the thing and start warming up. I'm the only person out there warming up. There's not even balls, but I'm just going to stand out there, and I'm just going to not allow these people to sub me out. Sure enough, the game goes on. Second half, a whole lot more of the same. At this point, they switch me out. They're like, okay, Patrick, just go stand in the middle, and we'll kick it to the other guy, and then he'll kick it past you, and then you can just sort of be there. And it worked out for me, but it's actually in the 90th minute, this game is 0-0. There's not a lot to do in a Sindarmang. So when there's a soccer match going on, like the whole town comes. So at this point, it's 0-0 in the 90th minute, and everyone's there. I also am so hot and tired that I cannot move anymore. I'm pretty much offside like the whole time because. So anyways, I pretty much am confined to a radius of about 3 feet at this point. And then next thing I know, I look up and there's a ball heading my way. And it's coming from, I know exactly, this kid name is Daniel Asante. It's like one of our good soccer players. He kicks it, and it's coming right at me. And I didn't move, and what are you gonna do, like bicycle kick or something? I don't know. But I like sort of moved my head towards it because I've seen that done. The ball hits off my head, goes directly into the right-hand corner of our bamboo fence with like speed. We score this goal. Everybody mobs me. The game is over and we win. Like, I could never recreate that. Like, you give me 1,000 balls right now, I could not do that right now. The most hilarious part, though, is like after the game, the story in town is how like Choquette is like this amazing soccer player who scored this goal. And then I still remember that night. I'm kind of in my basket in my glory in my little hut, or not a hut, a house, and my best friend at the time was a 6-year-old. If anybody's a Peace Corps volunteer, you know. My best friend was this kid named Nanamita. Nanamita, we play soccer together a lot, so he knows how horrible I am. And he happened to be, he was off at farm, so when he came back from farm, he was talking to my neighbors about like, hey, what happened to the game today? I heard whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, the Donkamon teachers, they beat the middle school teachers. And he's like, and then they're like, and Choquette scored the goal. And this sound, I can't recreate it, but it was the most like release of disbelief you've ever heard it. He's like, ah! And I still don't think he believes it. But that was him. So this is actually a picture. This is my journal entry from that night. And this is a funny thing. It's really embarrassing if you don't read it. But this is kind of the story of my Peace Corps career. And you flip through this journal, And there are days like this, and then there's days that were horrible, and there were days that were boring, and there are days that were worse than I've had. But every day, I guess you turn that page, and they all are consistently, they just start again with me getting out of bed, going back in the classroom, and teaching. And I think that sort of, I guess, experience with working for 2 years on the same thing, no matter if it was going well or if it was going bad, just that perseverance to sort of get up and continue to just sort of work at it every single day, leaning on this problem that is never solved. As a Peace Corps volunteer, your job is world peace and friendship. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, there's nothing better than that, but at the same time, that's not something that ends. That's not something that you score a goal and it's over with. That's something that you constantly work at. But that skill, that perseverance, that ability and comfort with continuing every single day, I think is maybe the biggest skill that I learned in all of my experience as a Peace Corps volunteer. And so if you fast forwarded through my career from there, and it's just a series of, I guess, I built up this attraction to big challenges, and then I utilized this skill of this perseverance, this ability to continue to just keep working at it, and I was able to accomplish some things. I came back. It was a big time in the world history, I guess you could say. 2007, worked for a year and a half, door to door, calling up people that didn't want to talk to me or knock on the doors, to push President Obama from a candidate who was 40 points down in the polls to our president today. I then, after the campaign, I went and got the opportunity to work at really honing my skills as a teacher. I went and taught in Eleuthera, which is in the Bahamas, and got to teach some amazing students, the future leaders of the Bahamas, as we said, and I believe it, these kids were amazing. And it was an interesting challenge because we're talking about climate change, we're talking about a tourist economy that was changing, and it was an interesting thing because I couldn't just be a good teacher, I had to be a great teacher. And being a great teacher, if there's any educators in here, is a very difficult thing to do. And I needed every day to be able to get up in front of that class again and get better, no matter what happened. All that led to coming back here as Director of Innovation at Peace Corps, where you're taking on the biggest behemoth, which is government bureaucracy. And that is something maybe as hard as world peace and friendship. But it's something that, over the last 4.5 years, I've stuck it out, and I think all of us, and I work with a lot of my coworkers in here, I think we can be very proud of the little things that we've moved, the little modern twists that we've added to certain things, and push the needle on this, because this is obviously the Peace Corps and our government working properly, obviously it's a huge impact and is super important. I want to finish with a story here. This young woman, this amazing young woman, his name is Akos, and this is actually a video taken about 2 weeks ago on my counterpart's phone who sent it to me. And this is Akos, and she is actually finishing up her technical exam. So she's going to graduate with this vocational degree, and is going to try to open her own business, basically doing hair. Akos is maybe what represents what is so special about Peace Corps to me. To get her to where she's at today is she just had to overcome so much. So Akos, just being a woman in rural Ghana stacks the deck against you drastically. The likelihood of her even going to junior high school is slim, let alone graduating from basically tertiary education. Even making it even harder, she She comes from she's a single mother. Her father died when she was about 12, and so her parents are basically on one income. To make it even harder, that income is a farmer, and a farmer in rural Ghana makes about $2 a day. To add on to that, and add on to the amazingness that is of what she's overcome, she also is a single mother herself. When she was 15, a guy came through town. Whatever happened to him, anyways, she was impregnated and he left before the baby was born. So she has her own son, Gideon. To add on top of that, when I met her, she was 19. She had not gone to school one day in her entire career, or her entire youth. And to make it, to add on to all this of this, she was born without the ability to hear. And I think, to me, I don't want to make this about some sort of pity thing for Akos. Akos is not somebody to be pitied. She's actually the most amazing young woman that I've come to work with. And I think what sort of makes this unique with this Peace Corps, and I think maybe the most important thing that that came out of my Peace Corps service is my ability to work with her, and that opportunity. And that opportunity did not come until the end, until this 2 years was over. Because people like Akos, so this is when I met her, people like Akos are hidden in these communities. And these opportunities, and girls like Akos, they're not rolled out when the Peace Corps volunteer comes around, they're not in the welcoming committee. I spent 2 years living in this neighborhood, and it might just be that I was blind as well, and I couldn't see her. But it took me 2 years of working through this community, building relationships, learning the languages, to the point in which we had the opportunity to meet, and we had the opportunity to work together. And so since then, we have been working together to support her through school. She is actually, that school that she attends there, Cape Deaf, so she not only learned that vocational school, she learned the ability to speak sign language, the ability to communicate. And we built off this foundation that she had. I mean, she was, even at this time, she had a job. Like, no one else could speak sign language. She was working the market and created her own hand gestures to be able to communicate, and she was getting on. So I know that there's something very special about Akos, and I think I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to even be around her. And that is, I think, the beauty of Peace Corps, is that if I was there for even just 1 year, I wouldn't have met her. I wouldn't have this opportunity. So the point of all this stuff is just like, Akos' story is not over. My story is not over. I hope that we're just going to keep continuing to work on these things, and I encourage everybody to sort of just think about Peace Corps as a way to adapt, to receive that skill, to build that skill, because then you can not only do things that help your resume and do all that stuff, but you can also make a big difference on some things that need to be, to be affected. So I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.